Depression is like being in a totally wrong room and looking for a corner to sit in. From the quote above, have you ever felt deep and prolonged sadness? And cause you to self-diagnose that you have depression. According to UNICEF, almost 1 in 3 young people in Indonesia, which is 29%, reported often feeling depressed or having a little in things. It is related to a lack of awareness of the importance of mental health. Do you know how important mental health is? Mental health is a part of physical health. We cannot afford to continue to view it as otherwise. This is the right time for us to more concerned about this. So that's why we are here today. We are going to discuss and learn together about depression. Okay, next. So now let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Nur Intan Zahrani Ahmad.
My name is Normalika Juliawati.
My name is Radia Marandias.
My name is Nashwa Bisa Fairuza.
My name is Rara Cleopila Kalma.
My name is Radinur Amanda Safira Putri.
And my name is Sarah.
Okay, so we are students of psychology in 11 Maret University, and we learn everything related to mental health, especially about depression. We already collected and learned a lot of sources, such as Journal of Psychology. First of all, we can next. I'm going to talk about depression. So, depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affects your feelings. Depression symptoms are like having trouble with your sleep schedule, loss of energy, thoughts of death or suicide, and many other things. And it can be healed by a psychotherapy or talk therapy. What are we going to tell you today is first, the definition, types, and causes of depression. And second, the symptoms, complication, and treatment of depression. And then we also will discuss about how to avoid depression and how to help someone who's suffering from depression. And the last but not least, we are going to discuss about the differences between depression and sadness or grief or bereavement. Okay, next.
In the first place, we will talk about the definition of depression. Maybe not much is known about the true meaning of depression. According to American Psychiatric Association, depression is a condition where a person experiences a mental disorder that affects our mood and ability to function. So, it can make a person feel very sad and lose interest in something. Next. The next point is the types of depression. It has been found that depression has several types. Based on Cleveland Clinic, the types of depression include 1. Major depressive disorder or MDD. Depression, clinical depression, has intense or overwhelming symptoms that last longer than 2 weeks. The symptoms appear with everyday life. Number 2, bipolar depression. People with bipolar disorder have alternating periods of low mood and extremely high energy manic periods. During the low period, they may have depression symptoms such as feeling sad or helpless or lacking energy. Number 3, perinatal and postpartum depression. Perinatal means around birth. Many people refer to this type as postpartum depression. Perinatal depression can start up to 1 year of a baby. Number 4, persistent depressive disorder or PDD. PDD is also known as dysthymia. Symptoms of PDD are less severe than major depression, but people experience PDD symptoms for 2 years or longer. Number 5, premenstrual dysphoric disorder or PMDD, premenstrual dysphoric disorder, severe form of premenstrual disorder or PMS. It affects women in the days or weeks leading up to their menstrual period. The next is psychotic depression. People with psychotic depression have severe depressive symptoms and delusion or hallucination. Delusion are beliefs in things that are not based in reality, while hallucination involves seeing, hearing, or feeling touched by things that aren't actually there. The last one is seasonal affective disorder. Seasonal depressive or seasonal affective disorder usually starts in late fall and early winter. It often goes away during the spring and summer.
Okay, the next point is the causes of depression. It's not known exactly what causes depression, but according to the Cleveland Clinic, as with many mental disorders, a variety of factors may be involved, such as brain chemistry. Abnormalities in brain chemical levels may lead to depression. Genetics, if you have a relative with depression, you'll be more likely to become depressed. And next is life events, stress, the death of a loved one, upsetting event like trauma, isolation, and lack of support can cause depression. Medical condition. Ongoing physical pain and illness can cause depression. People often have depression along with conditions like diabetes, cancer, Parkinson's disease. And next is medication. Some medication have depression as a side effect. Recreational drugs and alcohol can also cause depression or make it worse. The last one is personality. People who are easily overwhelmed or have trouble coping may be prone to depression. Next. Now let's turn to the symptoms of depression. For many people with depression, symptoms usually are severe enough to cause noticeable problems in day-to-day activities, such as work, school, social activities, or relationship with others. Based on American Psychiatric Association, the symptoms of depression can vary from mild to severe, such as feeling sad or having depressed mood, lost interest or pleasure in activities one enjoy, change in appetite, weight loss or gain unrelated to dieting, trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, increase in purposeless physical activities, example like inability to sit still or slow movement and speech. Six is feeling worthless or guilty. Next is difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decision. And the last one is thought of death or suicide.
Okay, now we will discuss point 2 about the possible complication of depression. Depression is a devastating condition that can rob you of the precious ability to enjoy life. It is a leading cause of disability, miswork, troubled relationship, and illness. Example of complications associated with depression include gaining excess weight or become obese, experiencing physical illness and pain, misusing drugs or alcohol, which in turn has a variety of personal, social, and health-related consequences, suffering from panic attacks, social phobia or anxiety, having suicidal thoughts, attempting suicide or committing suicide, mutilating oneself through cutting or other means, suffering from premature death from other medical disorders or conditions. Now we can move to treatment of depression. First is self-help. Self-help consists of regular exercise. Getting enough sleep and spending time with people you care about can improve depression symptoms. 2. Counseling. Counseling or psychotherapy is talking with a mental health professional. 3. Alternative medicine. People with mild depression or ongoing symptoms can improve their well-being with complementary therapy. Fourth, medicine. Pre- Prescription medicine called antidepressant can help change brain chemistry that causes depression. 5. Brain stimulation therapy. Brain stimulation therapy can help people who have severe depression or depression with psychosis.
Okay, so what ways can we do to prevent depression? Nowadays, there are many techniques you can use to prevent or avoid a relapse of depression. Include first is avoid stress. Chronic stress is one of the most common avoidable causes of depression. People who experience stress have a higher risk of depression. Learning how to manage and deal with stress is essential for optimal mental health. To manage stress, you can avoid delegating too much, practice mindfulness or meditation, learn to let things happen that you can't control. Second is exercise. Research shows that physical activity can act as an antidepressant, and experts encourage doctors to include it as a treatment. Regular exercise is one of the best things you can do for your mental health. Depression can make it hard for some people to start exercising, but a lack of activity can also make symptoms worse. Exercise can help treat and prevent depression in a few key ways. Increases body temperature, calms and central nervous system, releases chemicals like endorphins which can improve mood, lowers immune system chemicals that can worsen depression. Third is get enough sleep. Adequate sleep is necessary for both mental health and physical health. For better sleep, there are some tips that people can try to improve their sleep naturally. There are go to bed and get up at the same time each day, including weekends. Try to ensure the room is quiet, dark, and of a comfortable temperature. Avoid large meals, caffeine, and alcohol before sleeping. Do physical exercise during the day. And remove electronic equipment from the sleeping area and switch off 30 minutes before bedtime. Next slide. The fourth is avoid alcohol and recreational drugs. Excessive alcohol use and use of any medication is not only associated with a higher risk of depression, but also a higher risk of depression relapse. Limit alcohol consumption and eliminate drug use as safely as possible. The last but not least is talking therapy. Talking therapy can help people identify the causes of depression and find practical solutions. Therapy can be one on one with a group of people who meet just for therapy or with partners or family members. You can also reach out to family and friends when times get hard because having a strong support system and an active social life is also important for mental health. Next slide. Next is how we help someone who is suffering from depression. Helping someone with depression can be a challenge. If someone in your life has depression, you may feel helpless and wonder what to do. Learn how to offer support and understanding and how to help your loved one get the resources to cope with depression. First is let them know you care and are there to listen. You don't have to try to fix your friend or family member. You just have to be a good listener. Secondly is ac- accept them as they are without judging them. Next is gently encourage them to help themselves. For example, by staying physically active, eating a balanced diet, and doing things they enjoy. Fourth is get information about the services available to them, such as psychological therapy services, or depression support groups in their area. Last is stay in touch with them by messaging, phoning, or meeting for a coffee or tea. People who are depressed can become isolated and may find it difficult to leave their home.
Okay, so now I will talk about the differences between depression and sadness or grief or bereavement. So, as we know from medically reviewed by Timothy J. Lake, PhD, said 2019, sadness is a normal human emotion that every single person will experience at stressful or somber times. A number of life events can leave people feeling sad or unhappy. The loss of absence of a loved one, divorce, loss of jobs or income, financial trouble, or issues at home can all affect mood in a negative way. And depression is a mental disorder that has an overpowering effect on many parts of a person's life. It can occur in people of any gender or age and alters behaviors and attitudes. Next. Oh yeah. Okay, so for the conclusion, well, friends, I can believe we have reached the end of the discussion. Earlier, we discussed many things about depression, starting from the definitions to how we can find out what the difference between depression and sadness. The difference between depression and sadness is so that there will be no such thing as self diagnosing. The material we discussed earlier is very important for us to know, especially for us as students. So after what we have described in this in depression material, experience the symptoms or signs above, don't self-diagnose, and you should consult to a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
We must be aware of the dangers of the depression. Depression will be dangerous for ourselves as well as for those around us. Depression can be prevented in various ways, starting from ourselves by exercising regularly, at least 3 to 5 times a week, looking for a good community and environment, making life more relaxed and avoiding stress. Besides that, we must be sensitive to recognize the symptoms of depression. Whether it happens to us or those around us, if we find this sign, don't be ashamed to visit experts such as psychologists so that they can be handled quickly and not gradually. Don't even do self-diagnose because it will be fatal to our mental health and make us even closer to the real depression. So today we have discussed a lot about depression. Depression is a common and serious medical illness that negatively affect your feelings. There are various factors that can cause depression. Depression symptoms are like having trouble with your sleep schedule, loss of energy, thought of death or suicide, and many other things. Depression can be healed by medication, psychotherapy, or talk therapy. Nowadays, there are many techniques you can use to prevent or avoid a relapse of depression. You can also help someone who's suffering from depression. Last, it is important to understand the difference between normal grief and clinical depression so the bereaved person get the appropriate support or treatment. So what we know about depression at all is there is a lot of things that can cause depression. So we really need to take care of our and all people mental health. Moreover, we as a psychology student, we need to understand more about mental health, especially depression, the causes, effect, and how to heal it. Never underestimate the power of positivity when living with a mental illness. Based on the quotes, having a positive vibes in our life is really influential for our mental health. So, be a positive person and stay in a positive environment. Maybe that's all from us. Thank you for your nice attention and see you as soon as possible.